Aloha and namaste. So today's class will be an exploration of the shoulder joint, especially with regard to the movement of the shoulder joint and a great practice for a post-surfing practice. I surf on a regular basis here in my home in Santa Cruz, and I find that surfers and also athletes of all kinds can really use a lot of shoulder mobility work. The reason being is that we build a lot of strength, but with strength comes usually tightness or lack of mobility, and the shoulder joint really needs to also have both strength and flexibility, as it's one of our most mobile joints of the body. So join me and let's do a yoga practice built for post-surfing. Please come to your mat, and this practice, please have perhaps a chair or a side of a table nearby. A couple yoga blocks would be wonderful, and also a strap. Okay, and let's get started. Let's start in child's pose with the knees on the mat, the hips back towards the heels, and we'll take the hands to prayer, elbows down. Bring the forehead down. And just allow the body to drop in. Good, and then release the hands. Let's inhale, come up to seated on the heels. Roll the spine up. Just take the shoulders over the pelvis. And let's begin here with one round of Om. Full deep inhalation. Beautiful. And let's come on to hands and knees. And from here, let's start to lift the tailbone, drop the belly, pull the heart forward, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, navel to spine, chin to chest, and round the upper back, drawing the ears just a little closer towards the tops of the shoulders. And then inhale, tailbone lifts, heart forward, roll those shoulders back, so more space, virtual space between the earlobes and the shoulders. Good. And then continue. We'll move back and forth through this motion. Good. One more round. And then we'll come to neutral spine. From here, we'll start to rotate. Keep the arms straight and rotate the shoulder joint. Now, this can be an interesting one to do if we've never done it before. So we make circles with the shoulder joint. Try as we will to keep the arms straight. And notice the movement that starts to happen in the upper back and reverberating actually to the whole spine. So I'm articulating or initiating the movement at the shoulder joint, but the rest of the spine will move, and that's how we know that this is all a connected loop. Good, and then rotate. See if we can switch our brains out and rotate the other direction with that shoulder joint. It's challenging. Good, and then release. Let's inhale, come up to seat on the heels, and then interlace the fingers and press the palms forward. Now, true post-surfing practice, you'll get dripping out the nose as we practice. Truthful, this does happen. Inhale, come up. Exhale, draw the upper arms forward, palms forward. Inhale, take it up. If sitting on the heels isn't that comfortable, you can go ahead and come up to standing on the knees. Good. Inhale, take it up. And exhale, draw forward. One more inhale, we'll take it up. And exhale, draw the arms wide. Good. Let's take a left hand down, right arm up and over. Inhale, come up to center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, come up to center. One more time to the left. Pause. Breathe here. Back to center and switch. And inhale, come up. Good. Exhale, release those hands. And let's come into our first downward facing dog. And this is just a checking in downward facing dog, meaning first one, let's just see how it's going today after all this potential work we've done. So stretch up and back, spread the toes, and then actively press down forward through the hands. Coming to some stillness. Good. Now lower to the knees and then externally rotate. So turn the fingers out and the wrists out. The whole upper arm actually turns out. And then we go back to dog. If you're tired, it's easy to want to sink down into the shoulder girdle, but please do actively press down forward and lengthen the shoulders back. So I say back, but really the tailbone goes back and the shoulders stay where they are. But we create some length in that joint space through the active action. Good, and then lower, and then we'll do the very opposite movement. So internally spiral the inner upper arm bones. Tuck it all the way up and back. Just notice how that feels. And one of these might feel different. Well, they will feel different for sure, but one might feel better, like, oh, wow, I created an interesting space there. And just see how that feels in the joint itself. Good, and then lower. Let's do a little anatomy lesson here. So this area right here is considered the shoulder joint, okay? And then behind we've got the shoulder blade, which is connected to the joint, but the joint is actually right here. So when we say shoulders, sometimes we are talking about a different area. Sometimes even when we say shoulders, we mean this part of the neck that attaches to the upper shoulder, which is called the trapezius muscle, okay? So we've got a lot going on in there. We've got a joint, we've got a big shoulder blade behind us, and then we've also got these trapezius that connect into the shoulder. And then that shoulder itself has 4 rotator cuff muscles, and all of them have to work together in order to get that movement. So each and every muscle creates a different part of the movement, and then they all work together to allow, in this case I'm talking about like paddling motion that we do while surfing, but we also do that in a lot of our yoga poses. We do different articulations and movements of the shoulder joint, as well as other activities such as swimming, even biking, a lot of shoulder activity in a biking, and other movements, other sports, basketball, baseball, lacrosse, many things. Anyway, so just a little anatomy lesson. So when we speak of shoulders, often we're talking about shoulder joint or shoulder blade, okay? And when I say front of the shoulder, it's here, and scapula, shoulder blade, it's back there, okay? Just food for thought. Okay, so can we grab our chair or a side of a counter or anything like that, and then go ahead and bring that and pull that over to the mat, and you might even set it on the mat. And my chair is, you know, kind of hard, the edge of the chair, so I'm going to take a blanket and put it over the edge of the chair. Just for comfort, and then I'll have a block nearby, okay? So then we'll take the elbows down to the chair. You want the elbows shoulder distance apart, like about this far apart, not too wide, right over here, okay, in towards the ears. And then we'll start with the hands in prayer, and we'll just go ahead and walk the knees back. Start to let the head come down, maybe even in between the arm bones. Here we just simply start to melt the chest and the back of the heart downward. Good, and we keep kind of releasing the hips back, so we use the weight of those hips, and the spine kind of comes in between. The elbows stay rooted in place. And we breathe. And for those of us that are tight, this is going to feel like a lot, a big stretch. For some, we'll need to press into the elbows and draw out of it a little bit. So press down and then draw out a little bit if you tend to be more mobile in the shoulder joint. And how do we know whether we're mobile or tight? Really, if we're melting down a lot and we have a ton of movement, that's probably pretty mobile. And if this is kind of intense, it's probably pretty much more tight in the shoulders, in the joint itself. Good. And then from there, let's lift the head, come up a little, press into those elbows, and then can we go ahead and grab the block? So this is next step. If that was way a lot, If that was a lot, you're going to just stay with that first step. But if you can, go ahead and grab a block between the two palms. We'll put it on the narrow distance, and then we'll come back to that action. Walk the knees back, and then we melt here. Okay, and we can play with the distance. My hands are flat against the block here. And maybe even we go to the next width. And if you've been doing this a while, you might even go to the widest distance of the block. And just play with it. Palms flat. Try to keep the wrists and the hands relaxed. If you're watching at home, kind of watching the video and then practicing, you might be able to notice the changes that occur with the way the shoulder joint is moving as I move the block into these different positions. If you're feeling it, which is what we usually do in yoga, you might just move the position and try to notice. Take stock. Good. Just another breath or two. You guys got this. And then raise the head, press into those elbows, and we draw up. Okay, wow. Go ahead and set the block off to the side. We will set the chair or whatever we're using off to the side. And we'll come back and we'll come into downward facing dog once again here. Go ahead and take ourselves up and back and just notice any difference. Notice any difference now. Good. Inhale, let's come forward to top of a push-up, plank pose. And exhale, lower to the knees and sit the hips back towards the heels. Good. Let's slither forward onto the belly. And then release the arms by the sides. As we inhale, lift the heart up. And then keep the hands down. Just draw the head of the shoulders back as we do this. Keep the toes down. And then bend the elbows. Exhale, release. Release the forehead down to the mat. Go ahead and walk the hands right under the shoulder heads now, elbows bent. And then inhale, very little pressure on the arms. Just lift the chest once again. Now the arms are in a cobra position, but very little weight on the hands and the arms. Good. And then now come up a little bit more. Put some weight there and pull back, lift the heart. Good. Exhale, release all the way down, and we'll go back to child's pose. Nicely done. Inhale here, exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Good. Let's walk the feet forward between the hands. And now we'll bend the knees a little, cross the elbows, and let the upper body hang. Release the arms. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, hands to the hips, elbows back, and then rise all the way up. Beautiful. We'll come to standing. Now, standing in Tadasana, mountain pose. Maybe a wall's back behind us, and we can use this for the next pose. Okay, so you might walk towards a wall. We'll inhale, take our arms wide. Exhale, go ahead and take the right elbow over the left and give yourself a nice hug here. So the fingers are coming around the shoulder blades if possible, or as much as we can get a wrap like that. And then just gently shake a little side to side, rock a little side to side. Good, and we could stay with this or start to take the hands towards one another. Now you might come hands all the way together. If that doesn't work, we might keep the left elbow bent and release the right arm long, like so, okay? Or if the hands don't quite come together, go ahead and reach down, grab your yoga block, and put the yoga block between the two palms. That can be really interesting. Good. Then we'll start to bend the knees. Sit the glutes back towards the wall, perhaps. Just keep with the shoulder action, and then we'll add either the right ankle over the left thigh, or go ahead and wrap it all the way around for an eagle. We've got that wall behind us, really supporting us here. Breathe, breathe. Good. Slowly release. Let's inhale, rise up. If you've got the block, gently set it down to the mat and unwind. Beautiful. Second side. Left elbow comes on top. Let's start with that hug. Nice little bit of self-love here. Good. And then a rocking side to side. So we're trying to hold on to that shoulder blade. And then the two forearms perhaps come together, or this side we could take the left hand extended, arm extended, right elbow bent like so. You might do it without the block, or we might add that block. If you've never tried it with the block, it's quite interesting, so go ahead and I invite you to do that. And then bend the knees. And then we'll take the left leg on top, maybe the figure four here, glutes back to the wall, or maybe a full wrap. Breathe, breathe. Good. Slowly release, unwind, and set that block down, and we fully unwind. Beautiful. Let's come back to standing at the top of the mat. to Tadasana, mountain pose. Let the arms now hang and give them a little shake out. And roll the shoulders up, back, and down a couple times. And then forward and around and down. Good. Let's inhale, sweep the arms back behind us. And then sweep the arms all the way up. Gaze up. Exhale, turn the palms forward and fold forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, step both feet back to plank pose, top of a push-up. Lower halfway down to chaturanga. Inhale, forward and up. Back bend of choice, cobra or upward dog. If we're in upward dog, it's not like this. It's pull the shoulder heads back, press down through the hands, and lift the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Let's do a little bit of lunge pose. Right foot steps forward. Let's let the back knee come down. And just rise up here to lunge pose. We'll take both arms, reach up. So we're lowering through that front bent knee, reaching up, and then let's interlace the fingers and press the palms away. Gaze goes up. Exhale, release both hands. This time take them behind the back, interlace. Pull the fingers down, pull the fingers apart, and lift the collarbone and top chest region. Gaze up. Good. Exhale, release both hands. Let's step back, top of a push-up, plank pose. Lower through. Inhale, lift the heart, upward dog. Roll those shoulder heads back. Draw the scapula down. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. And second side, left foot steps forward. Back knee comes down. We rise up. Still got a little bit of that water dripping out of my nose. Crazy, crazy, crazy how long that can happen. Okay, bend deeply the front knee. The thing about surfing and yoga that is so similar is that yoga is a practice of discovering moment-to-moment awareness. And we really never know what's coming next in life. We condition our minds to think we know, but we never know. And the ocean's like that. It's a teacher in that we really never know. We can predict, we can think we see a set on the horizon, press up, lift heart, collarbones up, but we never exactly know what each wave is going to bring. Breathe, breathe. And then exhale, take the arms behind the back, interlace, second most comfortable interlace. So switch which fingers on top, roll the shoulders back, pull those fingers apart. Good. Exhale, release. Let's step both feet back to plank pose. And this time simply go back to downward facing dog. Good. Lower to the knees. Let's take the big toes to touch and the knees as wide as our mat. Inhale, take the right arm, reach up. Exhale, right shoulder and ear feeds through. And then left arm, let's take it reaching forward. Now you might even reach forward and grab a block and place that front hand on a block. Good. Walk the front hand in. Inhale, rise up. Let's switch sides. Left arm comes up. Exhale, left shoulder and ear through. Right arm reaches forward now. And maybe we grab for that block. Place the hand on the block, making a little extra space in the shoulder girdle with that block. That's what it does. We might notice here that the fascia of the shoulder itself starts really low. It starts even in the kidneys. The whole body is connected, and we might even feel how this twist exaggerates where some of those muscles that are helpers to the shoulder articulate and connect. Good. Walk that right hand in, and we'll rise up to center. Beautiful. Okay. So please come to a seat between the heels on a block, or 2, 3 blocks, any number of blocks. And if possible, sit in Virasana, which is kneeling. If that's not possible, any other seated position will do. Okay. And then this one is where we will perhaps utilize the strap. So let's inhale. Here, we take the right arm up. Exhale, bend that right elbow. Now notice my elbow will start to come out to the side. I want to draw it in, and then I'm going to use the left hand as a helper and just gently encourage the elbow in towards the side of the head. And then here, with this side, there's a little bit of an inner spiral. I'm exaggerating here, but this left hand can help, almost like you're unscrewing a jar top, a jelly jar top there. And that is the elbow, okay? Kind of draw it in. And for many, this will be perfect. You might stay with one arm at a time, so we're really working on the right arm right now. Or we might take the left arm out to the side, and then internal rotation of that arm bone, and then reach behind the back. Okay, maybe the fingers grasp here. Okay, mine grasps, it's not really an issue. But it is a challenge. You'll notice this elbow started to come out. I want to draw it back in. I want to make the head level, make the shoulders level, okay? And then maybe I'll grab with the strap into the hand, and then the other hand holds the strap, okay? I've lost it a little bit in this top arm, so I'm going to come back there, help that out. Good, breathe, breathe. Now let's take both arms here for another breath or two. And then we'll release the top arm, reach it around, and go ahead and reach behind the back and grab for that back elbow. And just kind of gently wrap those fingers around the elbow. You see my fingers kind of crawling around here. Okay, and just help there. At the same time, we're not going to collapse back. We're going to keep the collarbones open. That's the work. Most of us will feel a nice big stretch across the tops of the shoulders there in the traps. Good, and then release. Rock it out a little bit, shake it out, and then we'll do second side. Inhale, left arm up, bend the elbow, right arm up, be the helper. This time the rotation is righty-tighty, like you're screwing that jar lid on, closing the peanut butter completely. And just let that left arm open slowly. We'll feel it in the tricep muscle there and the outer arm. Good. And then take that right arm out to the side. Internal rotation. So notice all that internal rotation, and then we reach around. Now maybe you grab for the ponytail, if you've got a ponytail, or that strap again. Try to keep the elbow in, keeping the collarbones open. This pose can be quite a challenge. I work on it weekly, year after year. So it's not for the faint of heart. Doing these postures, it's not for the faint of heart. We need to continually work on them. Good. Slowly release that top arm, and we'll reach around. We'll grab for the elbow, and we'll help that elbow come in a little bit more, keeping broadness across the top chest. Beautiful. Slowly release, unwind. Let's roll those shoulders out. Nicely done. Let's check out downward facing dog once again, please. Go ahead and lift up and back. Plant the hands, walk the feet back, and just notice. Beautiful. We'll lower to the knees. Release the hips back towards the heels. Good. Walk the hands in, and then we'll inhale, roll up. Beautiful. I'd love for us to complete this class with a little supine love. So that supine, just lying back love. Go ahead and grab a blanket. Roll your blanket on the short end there, and we'll roll the blanket and we'll set it on the middle of the mat. And then what we'll do is we'll come around and go into lying back position with the blanket just behind those shoulder blades, and we'll come with the arms. Relax maybe to a T or maybe to goddess arms. Now check out low back. A lot of us active folk will have tightness and stiffness in the low back. If that's the case, maybe it feels like a lot to have those legs straight like so. So we could end with the knees in and the feet out to the sides a little bit. Let's take a deep and full inhale. Exhale out through the mouth. So being able to catch a deep breath is so important in the yoga practice and in the ocean. We want to be able to come up for air and then go under as needed. Train the breath. We watch when it's best to effort and also when it's time to surrender. Shavasana. We might even imagine we're lying back in the calm part of the break. On the outside, they call it. We just lie back on our board and we float and we gaze up at the sky. Good. And invite the breath to deepen. And as you feel ready, bend the knees. We'll roll to the side and rise up very slowly to a comfortable seat. Support the hips a little, and let's take the hands to the heart. We'll close practice with one round of Om. Full inhale. Namaste.